Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. So, welcome to tonight's live stream. We're going to be having two giveaways tonight. So, we're going to be doing a members giveaway and a subscribers giveaway. So, make sure number one, you hit the like button on the way in and leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel or a member if you'd like to get in on the members giveaway. And we'll be holding that in a little bit tonight. Also, I've been gone for 2 weeks so the live streams kind of dropped off a little bit. Getting people in here has been a little bit more of a challenge the last day because just I've been gone for so long. So I'm sure YouTube's algorithm isn't, pushing it and notifying everybody. And then some people just forget, especially being gone 2 weeks. And the reason for that was, we were worried that my daughter might have cancer. She got mononucleosis or Epstein-Barr virus. And so we were having issues with the throat and neck that weren't going away. Had to do mammograms and all kinds of stuff. So right now the news is good. No cancer, nothing like that. So I'm back. I'm excited to be here. We're going to be doing, like I said, a members giveaway. We're going to do a subscribers giveaway. Then tonight for fishing tips and tricks, unless you guys have questions, which I'm glad to answer, talk about anything, where I'm going to specifically focus on spinnerbaits and crankbaits tonight. And then the next video, we're going to cover jigs and a couple other lures. So I'm not really going to bounce around as much and try to keep the topic focused on one or two lures and just get into in-depth usage of them in many different situations and scenarios, and try to just do a really good job explaining them. That way, the next one we can move on and cover different stuff, so I'm not kind of bouncing around. Try to make this as educational and fun and entertaining for you guys. So again, smash the like button. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to get in on the members, every month we have members giveaway. Every once in a while we do sub giveaways. The members always get cooler, better stuff, more expensive stuff, early access to the videos, and we'll have occasional members only live streams. Also, if you're a member and you're anywhere within California or you make it here, I will guarantee take you fishing at least once, if not more. So I'm a super easygoing guy. Just reach out, let me know. You can follow me on Instagram, Sambo209, Facebook, Sam Matthews, here Common Sense Fishing on YouTube. I'm also on Rumble. Go check me out there if you'd like. We also have another channel, Common Sense Talks, that I drop in every once in a while. We talk about news and opinion and all that. So without further ado, let's get into tonight's video. So we're going to talk about one particular lure first. Then we're going to do the giveaway. Then we're going to talk about another lure. So we're going to start with spinnerbait. My favorite out of all of the lures is pretty much going to be the spinnerbait. What's going on here? There we go. Now I can see your guys' comment. Hey, Ray, what's going on? Nice to see you on tonight. We're going to be having our members giveaway and our subscriber giveaway tonight, as I've been gone most of June. So we haven't had our June one. We just had our May one, and that stuff's already all been mailed out. Everybody should have their stuff coming to them. Yeah, I got Mike his stuff, and I think Ray, you got your stuff last time, and J Rod should have got his stuff from Stockton. So everybody should be taken care of. So this month we're going to have a new one. So appreciate everybody. Members, you guys always get the good stuff. Thank you for supporting the channel. Subscribers, some good stuff too. So we don't cheap or fake over here on the channel. We try to hook it up. So let's pull up the wheel of names so we can start getting that ready for tonight's giveaway. I'm going to erase it. All right, and then we're going to get into some fishing talk. We'll have the giveaway in the middle of the video and get back to some fishing talk. And tonight and for the next probably week or two, until we can build up the audience again, we're going to keep our live streams at 1 hour. Also, for the fact that I'm doing heating and air conditioning, summertime's just brutally busy. Got a lot of stuff I got to do. So it's just easier for now. We're going to do 1 hour. Then once we get a lot of people back on like normal. We'll be back to the 2 and 3 hour formats where we hang out a minimum of two from 7 to 9. Occasionally I jump on at 6 to 9, or I'll even run from 6 or 7 to 9:30. So we try to keep a set schedule here, but it doesn't always work out. So, anyways, first topic of today is going to be the spinnerbait. We're going to talk about spinnerbait fishing, when to throw what sizes, what are some modifications you can do, trailers, trailer hooks, when to use what, and hope these tips and tricks help out. So spinnerbaits are actually a very versatile lure. There's a lot of different types. So they make spinnerbaits, the traditional one with just the big giant hook. They make them that have another secondary big giant stinger hook. They also make spinnerbaits that have treble hooks that don't have the traditional single wire big fat hook. It's actually a treble hook. Those are always and only supposed to be and meant for fishing in clear open water. And it doesn't have to be clear, but no vegetation, no weeds, no wood, open water fishing, offshore fishing, near rocks even, but just not bumping into stuff. You don't want to hit that spinnerbait into things. Those treble hooks are going to grab everything. But if you're open water or fishing in a lake that is like McClure, Don Pedro, even in a lot of areas, and you're hitting main lake points, you're hitting big rock piles, stuff like that, then a a treble hooked spinnerbait is extremely good, especially if you've ever used a spinnerbait and you felt taps and light hits and you set the hook and you can't, you're whiffing, you're bringing nothing in. Or if you've ever seen your spinnerbait coming into you and you watch it, you can see the kind of, 20 feet, 10 feet away from the boat. You can see, your chartreuse or white or whatever skirt and your blade. All of a sudden you see it get smacked to the side and you barely feel or don't feel anything, set the hook, nothing's there. Those could be monsters. Sometimes they're small fish. What's happening is they're short striking. They're grabbing either the skirt or the hook and they're just moving it. They actually don't have the entire bait in their mouth. And if you're throwing something like if you're throwing something like, say, a oh, sorry, I'm messing with the chat box again. So if you're throwing something like the treble hook spinnerbait, a lot more of those short strikes. So again, if you're fishing strikes, try the treble hook spinnerbait, especially and most only if you're fishing open water, offshore, or just not in and around a ton of weeds and wood. Hey, Brian Wentler, nice to see you on tonight. So, we're going to, like I said, we're going to be talking tips and tricks for the first little portion, 20, 30 minutes. We're going to get our giveaways over with. Then we're going to break into some crankbait tips and tricks. And that'll be it for tonight. So, thanks everybody for joining. Um, Especially you members, we appreciate you, and all the subscribers too. So, welcome back. And my super daughter doesn't have cancer, so I'm very happy about that. So I'm excited to be back and give you guys the best information. Okay, so spinnerbaits, there's a lot to them. Size of the spinnerbait, the design of the blades, the head, the weight, how heavy is the spinnerbait. The blades are super important. The blades are one of the most important part of a whole spinnerbait setup. And there's three main types of spinnerbaits. And one of them is a very little known spinnerbait and one of my favorites. So we're going to talk about those really quick and we're going to get into everything spinnerbait. So your three types of spinnerbaits are going to be Colorado, willow, and the third and very overlooked Indiana blade. So Colorado is a big circular blade, almost a circle, not quite. Willow is just like a willow leaf, shaped real thin and long. And an Indiana is like a teardrop. It is basically the two of them combined. So a Colorado, uh, we're going to talk about drag, how they work in the water. So a Colorado blade has a lot of resistance, and you'll feel it like a crankbait. When you're reeling it in, you can feel that vibration of the blades. puts out a lot of vibration, a lot of motion, and not so much noise, but more put out a ton of flash. They also put out a lot of vibration. And specifically, the blades are supposed to mimic the bait fish. So when you've got a big round blade, what do you think that's mimicking? That's mimicking a bluegill. Now, when you have a willow with a long, skinny blade, that's most likely mimicking bait fish like shad, baby bass, something of that nature. Not bluegill, not a bigger panfish. Now, there are different reasons to use each type, and we're going to go over that. So, a willow is again going to represent a shad or a school of shad or a group of shad, while a Colorado will represent a bluegill or a few bluegill. An Indiana is more like a bluegill or, say, a really fat shad or a fat bass. It's kind of a mix between the two. So a willow leaf has two main uses when you're going to want to use it. And we're going to talk about one is Colorado when you're trying to imitate blue, which is correct. That you want to use a willow if there's a lot of shad there, or you're trying to imitate shad or baby bass, which is also correct actually. So if your fishery has a ton of shad in it, McClure, other fisheries like that, you want to fish a willow blade spinnerbait most of the time. We're going to talk about when you're going to throw a Colorado in those bodies of water. If your body of water has a ton of bluegill in it, Eastman, the Delta, you want to fish a Colorado blade, right? Because you're mimicking those bait fishes in those water. Now, I'm going to tie two lures together in and kind of try to make this make sense for you guys. So I know guys that throw big, giant swim baits. I'm not really one of them. I chuck them every once in a while. I'm trying to get better with them. But I know guys that are actually good with them. They've been throwing them for a long time, and they take and they use trout, S-Wavers, HUDs, depths 250s, and they use trout swim baits in bodies of water where there are no trout. Yet the bass still hit them because of the size, the action, and all of that, right? So why would a bass eat a trout when there's not a single trout in that body of water, right? Why would you take a trout swim bait and use it at the Delta if there's no trout in the Delta, let's just say, or most areas? Might be some steelhead in some. But if you go to others and there's no trout, why would you throw it? Because the bait size, the bait movement, right? Now, so focus. Now let's tie that in with a spinnerbait. So usually you're going to use a Colorado blade where there's bluegill. You're going to use a willow blade where there's shad, right? Now, why would you want to change that or switch that up? So here are the other factors. So you use a heavier spinnerbait. Yes, you can get it down a little more. Hey, Mad Bass, how's it going? So if you use a heavier spinnerbait, it'll go a little deeper, it'll cast a little further, right? However, a Colorado blade has more resistance to the water and will have more lift and drag. So when you cast a Colorado out and it starts to sink and you start to reel it in, it's going to want to pull itself up towards the surface. While a willow does not have as much surface drag, it doesn't have as much resistance to water drag. So when those blades are spinning, they're not pulling the spinnerbait up as much as a Colorado. So a willow blade will work at a deeper depth a lot easier. So if you're fishing and you see a group of bass and they could be keyed in on bluegill, shad, I don't care, but they're 30 feet deep, it is a lot harder to take that Colorado blade spinnerbait, cast it out there, sink it down, and maintain it at 30 or so feet. It will want to pull itself up. So a willow is better to fish deeper when you've got a school of fish, even if those school of fish are bluegill. Here's another thing. If the body of water that you're fishing is shallow, filled with more weeds and stuff, right? I like to use a Colorado blade because, say, the Delta. There's a couple reasons. So let's say the delta's 8 to 10 feet deep, and the bottom 3 or 4 feet are all weeds. So I have 4 to 5 feet of clear water above the weeds. So I don't need my spinner going down too deep. So I can take a Colorado, zip it out, and slow roll it and keep it just above those weeds and move it real slow. I can also burn it and keep it right near the top like a wake bait and get bass to come up and hit it like a buzz bait. And trust me, it works. But if you're using a willow and you're trying to let's just put it this way. I don't care what spinnerbait you're using, but let's just say the bass are smashing crankbaits and spinnerbaits, but they want it slow. They want it slow. If you move it too fast, you're not getting bit, right? So if you take that Colorado and you try to move it slow, it's going to sink right into the weeds. Then you're fighting weeds and messing with weeds. That Colorado allows you to use it slower. So use a Colorado when you want to fish higher in the water column, or also when you want to fish slower, even maybe a little deep, but you want to fish slow. A willow, the slower you work it, it's just going to sink until it snags or hits the bottom or is bumping into stuff, which sometimes can work. But so you want to use a Colorado when you're imitating bluegill. You want to use a Colorado when you're working in the more top half of the water column or the top few feet. You want to use a willow when you're fishing slower in order to draw the bites out. And last but not least that I haven't talked about is dirty and stained water, which is also usually the delta, right? Willow will, or not willow, sorry, Colorado blades will put off much more vibration, much more feel. They'll put out a bigger wave, a bigger movement, let's say, than a Colorado blade. They're disturbing the water a lot more. And you can also take a Colorado blade and run it a little bit fast, and it'll pull right up to the surface, and that blade will go right under the surface of the water and work just like a wake bait. You'll get bass that'll come up and just smash that. So when you want to use a willow is when the water is clear, when the water is good visibility. Usually when you're trying to fish deeper offshore and when you're fishing for shad. So those are your two major components of why you would want to use one over the other. Now, remember I said Indiana is my favorite because I throw it in both of the situations because it kind of has some of the best of both worlds. Then you have single blade and you have double blade, and you have even more blades. But I always prefer a double bladed Colorado, a double bladed Indiana over anything almost. But if I am fishing clear water, if I'm fishing offshore and I want to fish deeper, then yes, I'll go to a willow, and it's always a double bladed willow. Barely ever throw a single bladed spinnerbait unless it's a big fat Colorado blade. Now, some of the things you can do is you can paint the blades. You can paint the blades red, you can paint them white, you can take a Sharpie to them, you can put a red Sharpie, black Sharpie, you can put stripes on them. So say you got a silver willow, you can take one of them and just put black stripes down the blade. Maybe do it to one blade and not the other, like a thread fin shad or something like that. You're just putting some break in that shine. You're making it look a little more realistic or beat up or just not like it's a shiny piece of metal flying through the water. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can buy them pre-painted. You can paint them. You can customize them with Sharpies, red, black are my favorite colors. You can buy blue Sharpies. You can get really creative. You can even color up the skirts a bit. So there's a lot of different stuff that you can do to a spinnerbait to modify it. So first off, you got to figure out what type of spinnerbait are you going to throw, Colorado or willow, right? Or Indiana, but let's just talk about Colorado and willow. So in what situation are you in? Then you choose what spinnerbait you're trying to fish. Now, another thing is trailer hooks, right? You can put trailer hooks on these if you're getting short strikes. Now, if I get short strikes, I traditionally switch to a crankbait. We'll talk about that later on. But there's a lot of times when I get bass that hit my spinnerbait and they'll even cram it, and I just whack, nothing. There's nothing there. I'm like, what the hell? joining a frog only kind tournament. All right, Mark Cordero, thanks for joining tonight. We'll talk about frog only tournament, like for example, the Future Pro or other places, but usually like. So we're going to take a little break from spinnerbait. We're going to talk about Mark Cordero's question about frogs and any tips. So one tip about fishing a frog only tournament. Here's a very important tip on how to win a frog only tournament. Read the rules. Swear to God, read the rules and find out if there are any situations that may get you disqualified. Because here's what you can actually do. You can throw plastic frog. And what I mean by that is a soft plastic frog. You can even throw them Texas rig. You can put weights in them. You can bottom bounce a frog. You can drop shot a frog. So if you go to a frog only tournament and the bass are just not having the topwater bite, they just will not eat, and it's just one or two bites, rare, just can't get them. No, that doesn't happen very often in the summer. You know, it's more of a winter thing or early spring, late fall that topwater bite can turn off, right? But let's just say you're on an off day, weather comes in, crazy wind, because it's the Delta, let's just say, crazy windy, the fish are just not cooperating or struggling. You got one or two frog fish, it's just halfway through the tournament, you're not doing too good. If the rules allow it, get creative. And what I mean by that is you can actually take a regular frog and you can pull the weight out of it and let it fill with water and let it sink, and then pop it and move it along, almost like a jerk bait or a soft jerk bait. And it'll still kind of have that movement a little bit, a few feet under the water. If you know that you can catch them doing something like a drop shot, Texas rig or Nico or wacky rig, and they just don't want to bite top water, you can take a soft frog like a rage tail or any kind of soft plastic frog, that's, you know, a pour frog, not a hollow body, and you can put it, nose hook it with a nice big hook and put it on a drop shot weight. Drop shot the frog. Don't you know, frogs swim underwater too. They're just not all on the surface. A bass will eat a frog under the water too. So you can take them and you can nail weight them. You can put weights inside of them. You can put rattles inside of them. You can drop shot them. You can Texas rig them. There's a ton of stuff you can do with a frog that most people might not realize. Nice to see you on. Hey, Kay, how's it going? Thanks for jumping on tonight. So again, everybody, we're going to have 2 giveaways, members and subscribers. So just make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're a member, thank you. You're going to be entered into the members giveaway. We're going to do that here in a little bit. We're going to get the giveaways out the way, and then we're going to jump into crankbaits. So I'm going to finish up on spinnerbaits. Then we're going to do our giveaway, and we're going to move into crankbaits. And like I said, for the next week or two, until we can build back up our audience, we're going to do 1 hour or so live streams, because unfortunately, you know, being off for nearly 2 or 3 weeks because I thought my daughter had cancer, I was just mentally screwed up. It was just really tough time for us. The algorithm hasn't been nice, and people probably just forgot, like, oh, I guess Common Sense ain't doing his videos anymore. So let's just hope we get back there. That'll be great. But in the meantime, you know, that's what we're going to do. 1 hour videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Makes it easier on me, and that way I don't miss any shows for you guys and gals. So anyways, spinnerbait. We covered the different types and when you would use them, what the blades are. We talked about trailer hooks. We talked about treble hook spinnerbaits versus a regular big thick wire spinnerbait. There's also miniature spinnerbaits like beetle spins and mini spins that are killer. Sometimes downsizing is all the difference. So you may be throwing a big old honking spinnerbait and not be having much luck. Switch over to that beetle spin or a small spinnerbait and just watch all of a sudden the bass come out the woodworks. It's crazy how that can work on a finesse day where there's some reason they'll eat the shite out of a beetle spin, but they won't touch a half-ounce spinnerbait. So, you know, I always carry quite a few smaller spinnerbaits on the boat, as well as the medium and the larger size. Now, a little trick a lot of guys won't tell you about is you can actually change your blades out and go big. So you can go with stock blades. You can actually go to the store, buy a set of different blades, and change them out according to what you're trying to do. But remember that the blades have an effect. The bigger the blade, the heavier, the more drag, the higher in the water column it's going to roll if it's a Colorado. If it's a willow, it may pull it down depending on the drag to weight ratio. But you can change out your blades. So if your body of water has a lot of 4 and 5 inch bass and you're fishing with 2.5, 3 inch blades, you can actually put 4 and 5 inch blades on your spinnerbait. So that's something the pros really don't want to tell you, but you can get in there, you can change your blades out, you can change your colors out, you can put one brass, one silver, you can mark them up, you can color them, you can paint them. You can change and you can put big old honking blades on there to where you're basically throwing a giant swim bait. So there's some crazy tricks that you can do with the spinnerbait by changing the blades. Another thing that you can do with the spinnerbait, and they make some like this, is that you can put rattles on the spinnerbait, or you can buy spinnerbaits that have rattles on them. Another thing that really can help out with a spinnerbait is putting a trailer on it, putting a Kitech on it, putting a ribbon tail worm on it to have. And again, if you're getting short strikes, you can put on a trailer hook or do like I do, switch over to a crank hooks. So the second the bass touches it, they're screwed. They're already hooked. Baits like this, they may come up and grab the hook like this so that you pull it out and there's no, the hook's not getting into the fish because they're literally biting the hook, but not the point or the skirt. They're biting right at that end part right there, and they're not really getting the hook in their mouth. So I like to throw a crankbait if I notice that happening. I don't really appreciate, I hate getting bit on a spinnerbait multiple times and not hooking up. I usually have a really good spinnerbait hookup ratio. Hey, Mark, do you need a for the frog tourney? I think he's talking about a kayak only tournament. So I don't know if they have kayak partners or not. I don't know. But uh, let's make sure I don't miss anything because we're going to do the giveaway here in a minute. So Spinnerbait skirts, colors. Again, you can take a red Sharpie to a white or chartreuse and add some injured a blood look to it. You can take and you can add some dark black highlights. There's a lot of different things. You can take a white spinnerbait and you can take the garlic dip pen, give it a little smell, give it some chartreuse streaking and coloring in there. Again, I use Colorado in dirty stained water, weeds, vegetation. I use willow, open, offshore, shad imitation. And when I'm trying to fish a spinnerbait deeper, Colorado for shallower. And usually Colorado pulls out much bigger fish too, by the way. There's rattles you can put on them. And you can get them in various different sizes from 1 ounce all the way down to little tiny beetle spin spinnerbaits. So there's a lot to them, but in a nutshell, I think I covered them pretty well. Then you just get out there, fish them like crankbaits. You can also fish them like rubber worms in a sense. You can take a spinnerbait, you can march up to a shoreline, and what I would recommend is start parallel. So go to a dock, if you're on shore, or if you're in a boat, great. Pull yourself up, fish parallel to structure and items, run that bait along stuff and near stuff. Then you can also take it and bomb it out in the middle of the lake over 100 feet of water and just reel that thing in. This will tell you one thing, having a boat that I've seen over 10 years that I knew about, but I hadn't really experienced a lot of, is finding bass over 300 feet of water. I shit you not. Go to a part of the lake where the bottom's like 300 feet deep, right? And the shores are right here. No bass, nowhere to be seen. You pull out right in the middle, 100 yards away from shore, out in the middle of bum freaky anything, and you're 300, 250 feet deep, and sure as shit, 50 feet down, suspended, is a massive school of bass and shad or something, bass are tearing them up. And those you can take and throw spoons, LV 500s. Now, where I'm going with that is a lot of the times they may not be 100 yards offshore. They may be 40 or 50. They may be just behind where guys are sitting at in their boats and fishing towards shore or right underneath them. And so if you're on shore, on a dock, on the shoreline, whatever, you can take your spinnerbait and say you're sitting on a shoreline. Cast it parallel, right? So cast it parallel first, but then you're sitting here, fan cast it, just like Bill Dance would say, and take it and cast it out over open water. And you believe it or not, we'll pull a lot of fish out over the middle of just randomly fishing, like, oh shit, there's a nice bass. And when you get one on a spinnerbait, keep casting there. There's usually more. There could be a lot of them. And then last but not least, before we get off the subject of spinnerbaits, there's one way that I've used a spinnerbait that I have not seen anyone use a spinnerbait. And that's like a jig. I'll take my spinnerbait and I'll bomb it out and I'll let it flutter all the way to the bottom. I reel in my slack and I slow lift my rod until I feel the vibration in my tip just a little bit. That tells me those blades are spinning. And I lift my spinnerbait up and I drop my rod, just like I do the LV 500, where what I do is I take my rod and I just lift it up a little bit, and my LV 500 just pops off the ground just a little bit, and it shakes and then dies, then shakes and then dies, right? And you can give it long pauses. You can just pop it and move it quick. You can even yo-yo and do that suspended, not necessarily on the bottom. So I'll take a spinnerbait, I'll cast it out there, I'll let it sink, and then I jig it in like a jig. Imagine a jig with a bunch of blades. Wouldn't that be cool? That's all a spinnerbait is. And you can use it. I swear to God, take a spinnerbait out there and work it like a jig. If you think there's bass from 0 to like 20 feet, and you're catching some decent 2, 3, 4 pounders, try putting a spinnerbait on, cast it in a foot or two of water, and jig your spinnerbait all the way down and let it hit the bottom each time. And then pop it like a jig, and let it die, and just do it. I swear you'll catch some monsters doing that usually. You'll catch fish no one else would have caught. You'll catch fish that would not hit that jig, but that spinnerbait made them. It just like they can't say no to it. It's like a little school. It's like an A-rig. So that's something I've never seen anyone do, and I've done that for over 20 years now. I've done that since I was a kid, and I always thought it was a cool little trick that I've never really shared with anyone. But I'll jig a spinnerbait. So that concludes our spinnerbait tips and tricks. Let's get into tonight's giveaway. We're going to do our members giveaway. We're going to do a subscriber giveaway. Then we're going to get into some crankbait tips. We're going to talk about coffin bills, spoon bills. We're going to talk about square bills, my favorite. We're going to talk about deep diving and the various different forms of deep diving, retrieves, sizes and styles, and colors. And we're going to break down how to use them and where to use them and when to switch between the two: spinnerbait, crankbait. Why would I use one over the other? And so, first off, I would say that I'll use a spinnerbait on a more windy day. I'll use a crankbait on a little bit less windy day. I'll use a spinnerbait when I'm covering more water and when fish are schooled up. I'll use a crankbait when I'm target fishing key structure and spots. I get way more shallower. I usually roll crankbaits always parallel right up against the shore all the way to wherever out I'm going. Say I'm throwing a deep dive in 20-foot crankbait, then I'll post myself in 20 to 25 feet of water, bomb that thing out, and hope that I'm going to hit some spots where it's only 15 or 18 or 20, and my crankbait's going to bump into stuff, but not all the time because I don't want to snag up all the time. I don't want to constantly be digging, but I want to be making contact with the bottom. So if it's, if you're throwing a DD22 and you can get down to about 20-22 feet, then that's about as deep as I'm going to fish. Maybe a few feet deeper than what the crankbait can actually go down, because the shoreline isn't plain flat. There's going to be spots where there's rock piles here, a valley here, a point here. So even if it says it's 15 where I'm at, there's going to be some spots where maybe it's 20 or whatever, or there's going to be some spots where maybe it's only 8 or 9 feet deep. So if I'm using a 20-foot diving crankbait, I'm going to post myself in around 25 feet of water usually. And again, everything is always parallel. So if this is the shoreline, I get my square bill and I run it right up against the shore. And then I'll make a cast with it a foot or two from shore. Then a cast with it 4 or 5, 6 feet from shore. Then I'll switch to a medium diving, which is usually a spoonbill crankbait. And I run that parallel out there in 8 to 10, 12, 15 feet. Then I go to the deep diving crankbait and run from 15 to 20 feet, and always parallel. So if I'm out sitting right here and it's 25 feet deep, I'm not casting like this. I'm casting like this, parallel, parallel, always parallel. That's one of my biggest and best tricks or tips I can give you guys for fishing the crankbait. So again, before we get into crankbaits, let's get the giveaway going. Thank you everybody who's jumped on tonight. Again, smash that like button if you get a chance here, and let's uh, let's get our giveaway going on. So hit the like button. Do me a favor. I only see 3 likes. See 6 people on. Here's how we do it. I do the wheel of names. I enter your name in, and I'm going to record it, and I'll show everybody the winner live tonight. So our subscriber winner, you're going to get a couple of lures from me, something like an Ishmonroe River to Sea crankbait, maybe a LV 500 or a spinnerbait, or a combination of a couple of lures together. The members, you guys usually get $50, $100 gift cards, stuff like that, rod and reel combo. So we're probably going to do another like Bass Pro Shops gift card for you guys tonight. So members, do me a favor and hit in the comment box. I want you to comment giveaway if you want to be entered into tonight's giveaway. And if you're a subscriber but not a member, please comment giveaway in the give me something, that'll count. Comment giveaway in the comment section there, and we'll put you in the wheel of names. So Tony, we're going to stick you in first. So Tony Duran, and we'll wait. We'll give us a few minutes, see if we can get some more people on. If not, you guys basically have a really good shot right now of winning something cool, because not a lot of people are on. See, so I try to do the best I can to educate, to make these entertaining and fun. I'll crack jokes. We talk about all kinds of fun stuff. We talk about the night I ran into a serial killer. I've ran into mountain lions. I'll tell some stories about my past. All the crazy fun stuff I've been involved with. So Kay, we put you in. Ray, you're going to be in the members giveaway. Mad Bass, if you're still there, and Brian, make sure you guys hit giveaway in the comments. So we got Kay. I got Tony, Monty, and Kay so far. And then let's see here. We'll give this 4 or 5 more minutes. Okay, so Brian, we're going to have you in the members giveaway. We got Ray in the members giveaway. Mad Bass still on. Leave a comment to giveaway, and we'll put you in the giveaway there. There you go. Yeah, we need to go fishing again soon when we get a chance, man. I've been doing so much HVAC work, though. It's been crazy. So I'm doing, there's 2 videos coming out. So by the way, members, there's a video out now of me out at Don Pedro with Tim. So me and a subscriber are out at Lake Don Pedro fishing from about 5 until 11:30 at night. It's a pretty good video. We catch a lot of fish, catch some decent ones over 3 pounds, some 3+ pound spotted bass, 3+ pound largemouths. And we have a decent bag, maybe 12 pounds to 13.5 pounds for our best 5, close to 14 maybe. We didn't weigh any, they were just out there fun fishing. So that video is already available to you guys. And then I took a woman subscriber fishing who kind of new to the channel. She's been fishing a while, but she's just not very confident at it. She doesn't believe in herself, and she kind of shoots herself down, and is a little depressed on her fishing skills. So I try to pump her up, take her out there, get her excited, put her on some fish. I think she caught like 2 or 3 bass. I caught like 20 or more. It's not easy. She's in the back of the boat, sitting down on the front, and the trolling motor standing, getting perfect angles. And I tried to make it to where I'd even put her in position and give her all the shots. But I can tell you that one thing, is using a crankbait in places like the Delta where there's a lot of weeds, if you're a beginner to a crankbait, it can be pretty challenging and tough to learn the difference between what a weed feels like, what a fish feels like. And then even then, you know what a weed or a fish feels like, but how do you keep your crankbait from getting stuck with a bunch of weeds on it, gunk on it, slime on it? How do you retrieve it right? What angles do you cast it? She was struggling with all that, but she ended up getting herself about a 3-pounder on a jackhammer chatterbait, and then she ended up getting, a little keeper on a spinnerbait. And I think I missed her getting a fish on a Nico rig, or I may have got that. I think I got that on video too. So she got them on spinnerbait, Nico, and chatter. And you know me, I caught 1 or 2 on a Nico rig, but I got basically all my fish on a square bill crankbait, river to sea, ish Monroe. So those videos are coming out. Like I said, the Don Pedro video is already out. So for you members, you got early access. The Delta video will be out tonight. So if you guys want to go see those, leave a like button, drop a like for me, and thanks. So let's put Mad Bass, Brian, and Ray are all in the members giveaway. So let's do this. We're about to have a now. So if you guys want to get in on this giveaway, to have it right now, all you have to do is, if you're a member of the channel, then just comment below giveaway. If not, and you're a subscriber of the channel, just comment below giveaway. If you're not a subscriber, just hit the little red subscribe button below and comment giveaway. We're going to put you in the wheel of names. We'll spin it and we'll choose a winner right now, and we're going to be giving away 2 giveaways tonight. So probably a $50 gift card to Bass Pro Shops or somewhere like that to our members. And then for our subscribers, you'll get probably about a $30 or $40 worth. Probably a couple of river to sea lures, something like that. Some really good high quality crankbaits, maybe LV 500s, jerk bait, something like that. So when I give out lures, I give what I fish with, and what I think that you guys will enjoy, like, and that you will catch fish on as well. So I'll get my video recorder ready on my phone. There we go. Oh, take off the, we don't want flash. All right. Hey, Victor. Bam. How's it going? Gerbs and Victor, let's put you guys in. Smash that like button if you get a chance, Vic and Gerbs. Help YouTube algorithm if you guys can. All right, so we're going to do the subscriber giveaway first. So far, I've got Tony Duran, I've got Monty, I've got Kay, I've got Victor Juarez, and I've got Gerbs in there. So let's see if I'm missing you. Make sure you let me know now, or comment giveaway in the comment section so that we can get you a lure, get you guys something. So this is going to be good chances tonight. Not a lot of people. Tony Duran, you were just at the Delta Sunday. Tons of slime and grass. Yep. Depends on where you're at the Delta. They're doing spraying, a lot of spraying in certain areas. How about D of the spinners? How about some of the spinners you talked about? Oh, if you'd like in the giveaway, we could do that. If that's what you're saying, Brian. How about some of the spinner baits that I talked about? If you would like to get some, for sure, I can include a spinner bait in the giveaway too. I like to use the Booyah Blade Double Colorado from Walmart, or I use the Terminator, is also a great spinner bait. There's a couple. Again, my favorites are Colorado, but I do use a willow often. It just depends on the body of water. Yep, I'd be glad to give you some of the spinners that I talked about, Brian. Put you guys on some fish for sure. All right, so went out of lads. Yeah, that's where I went out of lads. And then one thing I noticed, I fished white. The whole thing was just filled with weeds, a lot of it. If you're down in Holland Track, that's all full of weeds right now. Frank's Track, full of weeds. And one thing that I noticed too is they, at the other day at the Delta for a few days, they've been having a super tide when I went. It was very high. And I was there all day long and it never hit low tide. Like literally when it was going to low tide, it was at where like almost high tide would be normally. It was crazy. So we had a lot of open water to fish. We didn't have to deal with the weeds as much. But what can happen after a super tide is then you get a really super low tide. When you get that really low tide, there's just a shit ton of weeds and slime to contend with everywhere. What I recommend doing then, if you're fishing the California Delta right now, I know it seems illogical or anti, it just doesn't make sense when you see all this beautiful tules and riprap and logs and rocks and pipes and you see all this crap up against the shore. You want to fish it? Stay away from that stuff. Right now, with the water temps where they're at, the bass are doing kind of like the striper. They're moving up and down the delta and they're on the outside weed edge and they're just cruising around. They're moving with the tide, and when the tide stops, they'll stop. They'll kind of hang around when it slows down. When the tide moves again, they pick up and move. And they're all on the outside weed edge. That's where all of my good fish have been coming from. Even on high tide, the shore has not been holding a lot of big fish for me. Everything's pulled off. Also, all the bass that spawned in the last 2 or 3 months at the Delta, they're baby fry, billions and billions of them. They're all hanging in. They do the same thing. They travel, but they get smashed by the striper and bass. So they stay close to those weeds so that they have some structure, some safety, some a safety net that they can go into so that they're not just out in the open getting merculated. So the fish are almost all on that outside weed edge right now. So even if you're in sloughs, if you're on the main, wherever you're at, fish that outside weed edge. And I think that the Delta will be much more productive for you than if what you're doing is you're focusing on what you can see. Because that outside weed edge, sometimes it's not very pretty. You can't see it very well, but I guarantee you, I mean, I'm not a super Delta rat, but I love the place. And I've had most of my success recently doing that. So hopefully that helps out. Good evening, Cody. All right. Make sure you hit Cody and Racho. Make sure you guys giveaway in the comments section so we can get you entered into the members giveaway to get you guys a $50 Bass Pro Shop gift card. And if you're not a member but you're just a regular viewer, make sure you hit that subscribe button so we can hopefully get you out, whoever wins, get you guys out a lure pack, a custom lure pack for me, where it'll be a hand picked some of my best favorite lures, not from my tackle box, but what's in my tackle box. We get you guys some brand new stuff, never been used or thrown. Get you guys like some river to sea crankbait, stuff like that. So thank you guys very much. Let's do the non-members first. So I'm giving everybody many chances to make sure they get in on this. All right. So Racho and Cody and anyone else who's a member, now is your time to speak up to get yourself entered into the giveaway. So if you're a member, leave a comment. If you're a subscriber, leave a comment if you want to get into that giveaway. We're going to do it right now. Racho, sweet, we got you in. So I'm going to go ahead and do the non-members giveaway. So if you're just a subscriber or a regular viewer, basically if you make a comment and your name does not come up green, then that means you're not a member. So if you want to get in on that giveaway, please make sure you've commented giveaway in the comment section. Next, and we're going to hook you guys up. Then we're going to do some square bill comments and tips and tricks, and we'll get off. And before I get off, if you guys want to talk about anything, you have any questions, fire away, and I'll hang out as late as we want. It's just I'm going to keep them around an hour because it's just, we're building that, we're building the the viewership back up because it's been gone for 2 or 3 weeks. It's been kind of like a ghost town. So, all right, I've got my handy dandy cell phone out. Let's go to the wheel of names. So before I hit the spin, please correct me if I'm missing anybody. But for the non-members, we have Tony Duran, Monty, Kay, Victor Juarez, and Gerbs. So if you want to get on the giveaway, now's your last chance. I'll give you 30 seconds. I'm going to hit the button. We'll spin it, and we'll get this giveaway going. That way I can stop yapping about the giveaway and more about fishing. And then you guys can see who wins. All right, let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and hit this. Oh. All right. Is it big or little? Which one won? That's the question. Is it big or little? And the winner, he'll know because I know him. His father and son. Racho, he's going to be a members. So we're going to do that next. All right, guys. So the winner of our non-members giveaway is, I caught the tail end of it. Oh, dang it. Let's see. We'll show you that again. There you go, Victor. Victor, you are the winner. Big Vic. All right, we got Big Vic on. See, he knew what I was talking about. Big Vic, Little Vic. They're both cool guys. I've been fishing with both of them. So, Big Vic, congratulations. You won. I know you're local here, so you can stop by the house if you want. I'll let you know when I've got your stuff. I got to go pick it up because I'll go either to the bait barn or tackle warehouse. I'm going to do a little shopping, and we'll get your fishing lures ready. Just reach out to me, either cell phone or Facebook Messenger, or however we usually contact. And either I can meet you somewhere in town. I think you're in Livingston, or you can meet me at my house, or whatever works for you. So you're local, we'll figure that out. Just let me know. So congratulations, Vic. Don't forget, we have another giveaway coming. Every month we do this, so make sure you smash that subscribe and like. Now for the members giveaway. So we're going to go ahead and erase all the names off of this, and let's put in the members. So we've got Ray, Brian, and Mad Bass. Then we're going to be having Ray, Brian, Mad Bass, Cody, and Racho. Okay. Big thank you to everybody who's been sticking with the channel. Subscribers, members, non-subscribers, anybody who's been with me for just a short period of time or more. We've had a lot of ups and downs, keeping the channel moving forward, and finally got monetized a year ago. You guys know I've got like 400 and something fishing videos out, almost 500. I try to put out the best content for you that I can. I think I'm getting better at doing more explaining and in the videos, as well as fishing, not just going, oh, hey, here's another one. I'm trying to get better at my editing and at the content. So if you guys have any constructive criticism, I'm all open ears. I'm never, and I take the trolls, I deal with them pretty decently. So, feel free to fire away with anything you think that could help the channel, or just make a joke, whatever. So anyways, let's get the members giveaway done. And then we're going to talk a little bit about crankbaits, and we'll be out of here tonight. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. You guys are awesome. We still got a little bit of fishing tips and tricks to give away and talk about. And if you missed it, we talked about spinnerbaits in the first half. And I did, I think, a really good job, an in-depth job, talking about the different types of blades, the different types of spinnerbaits, the modifications that you can do, the uses in which you can use, when to use what over what. So hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Thank you guys very much. My son just won his club tournament last week at Salt Springs Reservoir with a frog. Nice. Okay, let me know when you have it ready and I'll come over to your house and pick it up. Appreciate it. Thanks, Monty. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, everybody else. Gerbs, Kay. Thank you guys for coming in, and Mark for coming in, being part of the giveaway. And I hope you stick around for the rest of the video. And also, don't forget, we do these every month. So keep your notification bells checked. We do giveaways all the time here. Try to help out, spread the love, spread the fishing community, and help out as much as. Now we're going to do the members and then on to fishing tips. So before I hit this button, I'll get to zoom out. Let's make sure we have everybody's name. So I have Ray, I have Brian, I have Mad Bass, I have Cody, and I have Racho. Are we missing any members tonight? So I got Brian Wentler, Cody Conway, Racho Bunch, Mad Bass, right? And I got Ray, Brian, Mad Bass, Cody, Racho. Am I missing? It seems like I'm missing. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then we've got 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Yep, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to hit the record button. Let's give away some cool lures. So focus right there. Keep it steady, and bam. Congratulations to tonight's winners. We have Mad Bass as the winner of the members giveaway, and we have Victor Juarez as the winner of the non-members giveaway. So let me go ahead and show you guys there. This is the members giveaway. Oh, let's see if it'll. I hate when it does that. Stupid thing doesn't zoom in. Anyways, we'll play it one more time for you on here. See if we can get it to. Damn it! You can almost see it. There it is, Mad Bass. All right. I always like to show the proof so you guys know I'm not just picking names out of a hat or blowing farts out and smelling them in the wind and saying, "Oh, I think today's winner will be Billy Bob." Congratulations, everybody. Don't forget, don't miss out. We have one every month. So we're going to have a July live stream and giveaway coming up soon. We do the live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week, 7 to 9. But for the next couple of weeks, until we can build back up our viewership, we're going to probably stay with around an hour, hour and a half. Oh, hey, Monty, thanks for the question. What is my go-to knot? Well, it depends. So if you're fishing with fluoro, you do not want to use a knot where the line really cinches on itself, because fluoro is like a little razor blade and it cuts into itself. So if you're snapping a lot of fish off of fluoro when you're finesse fishing, jig fishing, or something, if you're using fluoro, then you really need to switch to a knot that doesn't dig in on itself. My favorite knot out of all of them is probably the double Palomar or the Palomar knot. I'll use uni to uni and the blood knot for, line to line connections, but I don't fish like that a lot. I'll use a fisherman's knot sometimes when I'm throwing things like mono, but I usually use the Palomar for almost everything. Now, if you're using braid and you're using really thick stuff and you're pulling fish out of cover and you're yanking and tugging on that, problem with braid is it can pull loose really easy. So you need a knot that the more you pull it, the tighter it gets. So you need the knot that you don't want to tie for fluoro on braid. So like I'll use a fisherman's knot on braid, but I've even used a double Palomar on braid. I haven't really had too many problems as long as you keep the tag end. You leave a little bit out, because there'll be, you hook into a monster bass and you have to pull it out of weeds, trees, or anything like that, pull it out from a dock, and you have to force that fish. A lot of the times with braid, if you cut when you tie your knot, if you cut it too close to the knot, it's easy to slip out. So with braid, you got to be really careful. With fluoro, use a knot that's not going to cinch on itself really bad. And for those, I really like Palomar knot or double Palomar. Fisherman's knot will snap very often with fluoro, so that's more of a mono technique in my opinion. But for most of the lures, I pretty much my favorite's a double Palomar. So hope that helped. Now some crankbaits. So crankbaits, most people say you should be using crankbaits on a medium action rod, and mono is the preferred line of choice. I actually like to use a medium action rod, sometimes a medium heavy if I'm deep diving, and I like to use fluoro. Tell you why. Why I use fluoro versus mono when I crankbait. So mono, if a big fish rams your and just pulls real hard and you set the hook, mono has a little bit of stretch and forgiveness. So when you get that vicious bite and those treble hooks, you get a little forgiveness so you don't straighten your treble hooks out, you don't break your treble hooks, and also mono floats. So there's some benefits to that in certain lures. Now, why I use fluoro over mono is because the main reason people say use mono for lures with treble hooks is so you have some forgiveness and stretch, which to me just means you don't know what you're doing. I'm going to be very nice or very blunt about it. It just means you're not familiar. And I'm not trying to be mean. So it's not that you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing. It's just you're just not familiar with using that stuff. So I use fluoro because it sinks and it allows me to get my crankbait just a little bit deeper, right? That's number one. Number two, fluoro is invisible underwater compared to mono. And even though a crankbait is a reaction lure, it is just one more straw on the camel's back, so to speak, that tip it in the favor of that fish biting in case they're slightly line shy or see the line. I want as much realism as possible, so I use fluoro because it's also invisible. So it sinks, it gets my lure down a little deeper, it's invisible. And here's the coup d'etat, like why I really use it. It is no stretch, really, barely any, like braid, and it's extremely sensitive, like braid. So I can feel a little bite. Now I'll tell you why. I've caught a double digit bass on a crankbait that bit like that. That's all it did, like that. I'm reeling my crankbait along, and I know that I'm in like 25, 20 something feet of water, and my crankbait only goes down to 18 feet. And even if I bumped something, I know how that would feel, right? Because you usually will dig in. So I'm rolling my crankbait parallel, like I always do, over a foot or two over the bottom in like 20 feet of water using like an 18-foot diving river to sea Biggie Papa cold blooded, not the square bill, but the deep diving river to sea version, which is a new bait actually. And all I felt was this bluegill tick, but I knew it. I knew it. I've drop shot it all my life. And when you feel that little just tick like that, barely even. I knew it was a fish, so I set the hook. Bam! Double digit bass. So with mono, I would have just kept reeling. Might not have hooked that thing. I would not have felt it. So there are times the bass do not crush my crankbait a lot of the time, and when they do, here's the deal: why I use mono or fluoro over mono. The crankbait, the rod that I use is usually a medium. So the pole is soft. So if I get crushed, the pole absorbs a lot of that tension. And then I know I'm fishing with fluoro. So do you think I'd do a super hook set using fluoro? Hell no. That's how you're going to snap your lure for sure. So I just, a real quick little hook set, and with no stretch, those treble hooks, they just stick right into that fish. Then, right, then mono gives you a little bit of stretch. So what if the fish, you think you get a bite, click, you set the hook, maybe it's a 2-3 pounder. All of a sudden it's a double digit 10, 12 pound bass and it just goes shooting. Whoa, right? You have fluoro, you're going to have either your line snap or your hooks are going to straighten. Or you have your drag set. Or if you're using a bait caster, you hit the button and let it take some line and use your thumb as the drag on the spool. Problem solved. I don't need no stupid mono. I don't like it. It just not my cup of tea. So when I fish most baits like that, I'm using a mono. I'm using fluoro when everybody says to use mono. And the number one rule that I have is I don't care if I'm in the delta or in the lake. I don't throw almost anything on straight braid because I'm just like superstitious about fish seeing that braid. And I can tell you a good 100 fishing trips, maybe more, where I've gone with other people and we did the exact same thing, whether it was bottom bouncing or crankbaiting or spinnerbaiting. I had braid, they had mono or fluoro, they kicked my ass. I'll catch a few, but I tell you what, man, I don't like using straight braid unless it's top water or punching or heavy cover, trees, wood, and I know that I'm gonna hook something, I'm gonna have to yank it out. Then I'm using straight braid. The whole thing's braid. I may use braid to fluoro, braid to mono when I get brave and I get all like I get, adventurous. I do it, but I struggle with it sometimes and get frustrated if I'm using micro guides. I hate more than anything is when you're using those bait casters with super tiny eyes, and then you got that uni to uni knot when you cast and you hear that's like a pet peeve when I'm fishing with other people, even when I'm sitting there fishing and you hear them make their cast and they go as they go to cast because they cast and the 2 or 3 or 20 feet or 10 feet or whatever they're using, the fluoro or mono comes out, and then that unity to unity knot hits. You can't cast as far. You're probably jacking your eyes up, and it's annoying. I don't like it. So I don't usually do a line to line connection myself. I do sometimes, but to each their own. And I'm not saying that my way has to be the way that you fish, but I'm explaining why I fish the way I do with those. So when it comes to crankbaits, I'm almost exclusively fluorocarbon. So um, I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps out when you're throwing a crankbait. Because sometimes you can both be throwing a crankbait, but one guy's got fluoro, one guy's got mono, and this guy's crankbait is getting 6 inches or a foot deeper than the other guy's. And that may make all the difference in the world. So, you know, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but anyways, so with crankbaits, um, there's some main types of crankbaits you want to have at all times. The biggest one is a square bill for fishing shallow water and for bumping off of stuff. A square bill is the king, is the best shallow water crankbait in my opinion. During the dog days of summer and really cold days of winter, you want a flat-sided crank, basically like a rattle trap but with a bill. You want a real skinny crankbait, like a they're called flat-sided or flats. You want a flat crankbait. Um, Another one that you want to have on you is a medium diving spoonbill. They just look like a spoon. They're circular, and they're usually the bill's only like this big. And one thing to pay attention to is pay attention to where the eye is on that bill because that depends on how deep it dives. Wherever that eye is attached, if it's attached to a certain spot, it's going to pull deeper. If it's attached too much in the front or in the middle, it won't run quite as deep. But when it's put back a little more, it'll pull down and run actually a little bit deeper. So the closer the eye is to the body of the crankbait, the deeper it'll go, if I remember correctly. The farther out the eye is away from the body, the higher in the water column it'll roll. So you want to have shallow cranks are going to include square bills and flats. Medium diving cranks usually going to be a spoon bill or a coffin bill, which is kind of like a deeper diving square bill. The last one is a deep diver, DD22, a Norman, a River to Sea, anything that goes 15 feet and deeper. Now, they do make some giant crankbaits with massive bills that go down 25 feet that I've seen. They sell them at Clear Lake bait shops. Some of the guys use them at Clear Lake and a couple other places. I'm not in that category. I can't give you guys tips and tricks on those. I don't throw those. So the 4 or 5 crankbaits that I will always have: square bill, flats, coffin bill, spoon bill, and deep diver, or coffin, spoon, and deep diver. So, and then I use the 2 main colors I'll use are darker colors, black and red, purple and black, just a darker shade. Then I'll use light colors like shad or bluegill. And I usually use bluegill after spawn all the way up until a certain point in the summer. And I like to use shad in late summer, fall, and really early spring. So I'll use different colors during different times of year. And a crawdad crankbait you can use anytime the crawdads are out, especially killer at the Delta. So those are my main go-to colors, my main go-to types. And my favorite out of all of them is the River to Sea Ish Monroe Biggie Papa. I've got 2 double digits on it, and worth every bit. I love that crank. So um, remember to always fish parallel. And oh yeah, there's rattling and non-rattling, and sometimes you can have the exact same crankbaits, and the bass won't touch the rattling crankbait. I don't know why, but they don't want it. They won't have nothing to do with it, and they'll kill the silent one. Sometimes when it's vice versa, they really want the rattle and they don't want the silent. And I have a feeling that when they're hitting the silent one over the rattle, that's because when you have a rattle, that fish knows that bait, that lure's coming, and it has more time to look at that bait because it can hear it. Oh, what's that? Comes this bait. Don't want to eat it. Yeah, screw it. But when you have a silent one, bass is just chilling. Oh, and it's fight or flight, and you can get bites sometimes on a silent hit a rattle crankbait. So always remember to keep a balsa or a wood crankbait on hand, and to have a couple of different ones: a square bill, a balsa square bill, and a balsa deep diver, and a balsa medium diver, basically silent crankbaits, or even plastic ones but without the rattles in them. So wooden crankbait's great lure. It's silent, don't make a lot of noise, they're killer, they weigh a lot, so you can zip them real far. Now, last little crankbait tip I'm going to give you guys tonight. I probably didn't spend nowhere near as much time and go in depth on the crankbait as I probably could have or should have, because I spent a lot of time on the spinnerbait. We're doing the giveaway, and then hey Lauren, Larmy. So any tips for windy weather? Oh yeah, the three. Here's fishing 101 for windy weather. Doesn't mean it's always going to work. But the 3 go-tos that like every pro since the dawn of sport fishing has said: when it's windy, you pull these 3 lures out. You pull a rip bait, so a jerk bait out, an LV 500, or a spinnerbait. You go with those 3 main lures. So if you're fishing in rough, windy water and chop, use a spinnerbait, let it get down a little bit. Use the spinnerbait, use an LV 500, yo-yo it, fish it on the bottom, and then fish it on the top. You can reel it in, and then every few seconds stop, let it die, and then start reeling it in again. Work it in a suspended water column. You can work it near the top, or you can take your LV 500, throw it out like a jig. It lands on the bottom. Now in wind, you want to have some ripping action. So when you're using an LV 500. So I got this one right here. So when you're using an LV 500, right? Let's see if we can do this. And let's say normally, like I'm yo-yoing, I might go like this, right? I might just lift it and then drop it and let it die. But in wind, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna rip it, right? And then the same thing with a jerk bait. Say with a jerk bait, pretend my pole was going down and not up, right? Then you go 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, right? With in the wind, you want to go, jerk, just savagely jerk that bastard, just whack, whack, right? Give it some good hard rips. In the wind, you really want some really good erratic action. And the other thing is going to be use brass blades over silver blades sometimes because that gold seems to have a much better visual transference in the water than the silver. I don't know why. It's hard to explain, but it does. At least in my opinion, I've had much better luck with brass, gold or brass blades over silver blades. And so spinner baits, you can steady retrieve. You can retrieve it near the top. You can retrieve it near the bottom. You can slow roll it. You near the bottom. You can a moderate retrieve in that suspended zone. You can jig a spinnerbait, right? And the same thing, LV 500. You can cast it out, let it sink, and then rip it up, rip it up, rip it up, and then another thing is do double rips, and then let it die. Right? So instead of just one ripping down, try double, whack, whack. One goes like this, like that. Right? Same thing with the jerk bait. Boom, boom. Less tap, 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 tap. Not like that. Whack, whack. Real hard jerks. It can actually screw your arm up fishing, but you'll have a lot more success, in my opinion. So I hope that helps. Now, crankbaits. I'm going to give you guys a badass crankbait lure that nobody knows about. And my friend's going to want to kick my ass for sharing this with you guys. And I don't know how much this crankbait is getting around yet. I've heard one person, maybe two, talk about it, but we've known about it for over a decade. And it is a very, very hush hush, silent killer bait that we don't talk about and we don't share it. I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. And it should blow your mind. I don't know if anyone has heard of a weedless crankbait, but they make them that you can run right through weeds, right through wood. You can run right through anything and get caught up barely. And it's the craziest thing in the world. The first one that I've ever seen. And all it is, check this out. All it is it's like a hollow body frog with a bill on it. It's a soft crankbait. It's not hard. It's not plastic where it's like a rubber worm. It's like a frog, right? And the hooks are just like the frogs, but pointed almost into it. And it's you get it in the crankbait body, but instead of having a treble hook here and a treble hook here in the bill, it's just the damn crank. It looks like a crankbait with no hooks. Like where are the hooks at? And a bill, right? And you can squish it, and the hooks are right there like a frog. So you can take this thing to the California Delta, wherever, Salt Springs, roll that sucker through all the slime and crap that you want, and none of it sticks. And when a fish hit it, they hit it, whack, and then you just do like a frog fish. You need to feel the load, and then don't hook set left or right, hook set up and down to drill the hooks into the top of the mouth. You don't want to pull a frog to the side. Little frog fishing tip, don't hook set down, don't hook set left, and don't hook set right. So if you're working a frog and you happen to be doing you happen to be big frog fishing tip right here, by the way, guys. I mean huge. And this will be the same thing for that hollow body crankbait. Is if you're frog fishing to the right, like this, and then you get boosh, big old blow up, don't take it and set the hook to the right or to the left. What you need to do is say you're fishing sideways and you get bit, stop and pop the thing up and down because you will pull the hooks out of the mouth. They won't catch on the side as well as they will on the top. And you'll miss more fish if you're doing sideways hook sets. That's how you hook set on a swim bait, I've been told, is to the side and up a bit. For the Kitex, it works really well. But with a frog, always up and down hook set, never to the side. And like I said, look up this crankbait I'm telling you about. It is badass. Nobody that I know of fishes with it, is aware of it, know anything about it. And you do the same thing when you get crushed on it. Up and down hook set. I'm gonna actually show you this crankbait real quick, and my friend's gonna want to kick my ass. This has been a close guarded secret for like 10 years. Let's see if I can find one. I can't even find one. Excuse me, guys. See if I can find this. I swear to you, this is one badass crankbait. All right, so it's an older one than this, but it's like a crankbait and a frog. And there's other manufacturers. This is a Molex. Take a look at this bad boy. Tell me you ever seen one of these. Watch. Let me see if I can get it to stay and get right up there close. Look at that. Look at that. Ha 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 ha. You can thank me later, I swear to God. Bet you big money. Nobody's throwing these. They've been around for a long time. And if people are, they're barely throwing them. And nobody's talking about them. You ain't going to have nobody talking about that. They don't want that secret out, but that's the real deal. If you're struggling with a crankbait and weeds, struggling with it at the Delta, or you're throwing a frog, remember how earlier Mark Cordero was talking about entering a frog only tournament? Any tips or tricks? It's a frog, but it's a crankbait. Yeah. I mean, come on, read the rules. Make sure that you're not going to get DQ'd or disqualified, or that your soul, that you can sleep at night, right? That you're not going to feel like a cheater. But while everybody else is out there frog fishing away, if it's a tough topwater day and you got one of those in your boat, you're going to kick everyone's ass. Go take that money, baby. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. We'll be back Friday, 7 to 8:30 like we did tonight. And once we get enough people back here hanging out like we were before, my daughter had cancer, was very stressed out, didn't know what to do, wasn't in a good mind state. So I've been missing the last couple of weeks. I did a couple fishing trips. There's some videos out. There's more coming, but I've got a lot more stuff coming. I'm back. Going anywhere. I'm here to stay. I apologize for like a nearly 2-3 week break, but my daughter, is really stressed out about that. I hope you guys can understand. And as soon as we get these live streams back up to 15, 20, 30 people or more, yeah, we're going to go 2-3 hours like usual. We'll get into all the best tips and tricks. And again, we'll also do some more fun stuff. I haven't done like a Freaky Friday or a Freestyle Friday where we're listening to music and telling jokes. This is a fishing channel. We try to keep it mostly fishing, but I like to be entertaining and fun as well. So if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, you can leave them here in the comment section now, or also when we're done, this video will not be live anymore, but it'll still be in the library. You can still go back and watch it. You can check out, like, you can go back and listen to my spinnerbait tips, to my crankbait tips. If you missed that hollow body frog crankbait tip that I just gave, go check that out. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think I can do better, how I can improve, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what you guys would like to see from the channel. Because this is ultimately about you, the fishing community, trying to help. I don't claim to be super bass pro or anything. I just got some tricks up my sleeve. Been fishing for like 25 years, and I'd like to share what I do know, help others get better, and hopefully build a nice, cool fishing community while we're at it, and maybe make a little career or money out of it. It doesn't hurt, right? So those are the goals, the ideas here on the channel. Thank you guys for supporting all the members. And if you're not a member and you'd like to become, there's a little join button you can click. You become a member, not a lot of money. It helps the channel, it helps YouTube see that this is a worthy channel. It also helps us just the drive to keep going. You get giveaways every month that are special to just the members, also early access, all that good stuff. Then when we get merch available, members will get like 25% off. All kinds of cool stuff I've got planned for the members on this. So thank you to the whole community, subscribers, members. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hit the like button, and we'll catch you guys next Friday, or this Friday, sorry, on the next one. And thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful night. And in the meantime, tight lines, everybody, and get out there and smack them. Hey, thanks for joining, Larmy. I'll see you on. Try to be jumping on Mark's local fishing with Will at the channel. I'm subscribed. So all my viewers, before I jump off, the guys in the UK and is a fishing channel in the UK, and he live streams his fishing, and he's a really cool dude, and he's got a really good community. And if you guys are interested, please go give him a subscribe. Let him know Common Sense Fishing sent you. So here he is right here. He's a really cool dude. His name's Local Marks Fishing, and his name's Will. And he goes out there and he live streams from England, and he fishes in boats. He fishes on shore. He does a lot of shore fishing. There's a great chat and community there. I'm trying to build something similar, if not better, though, but different. Not necessarily better, but different. So great guy. Go check his channel out. Also, fishing, Fish the Moment, Randy Blaukat, live with Randy Blaukat, some great guys. So, I'm not knocking Milliken Fishing, great dude, great channel. Tactical Bassing, great guys, great channel. Thai Pig Patrol, all this stuff like Bama Bass, right? But there's certain ones that are more educational and informative than they are entertaining. So it depends what floats your boat. But I'd go check out Local Marks, great community there. So Larmy, I'll see you guys over there when I get a chance. Everybody have a good night. Tight lines, everybody. Congratulations to Victor and Mad Bass. So reach out. We'll get you guys your lures. Hey Jimmy, what's up, boy? You gonna make the? We're gonna have that the meet and greet coming up soon. I hope to see you there, Jimmy. We'll have some barbecue, some tri-tips, some ribs, some drinks, and good times. So if you don't have a boat to jump on, come and jump in my boat, Jimmy. We'll take you out there. We'll go have some fun. So everybody have a great night. Thank you for watching. See you guys on Friday.